The Sims originally released for Windows on February 4th of 2000. The game was a massive success. It surpassed Myst as the best-selling PC game at that time, and eventually reached 16 million units shipped worldwide. The obvious next step for The Sims was to release a console port of the game. This would allow the developers to surf the wave of potential the initial release had created and reach a wider audience. This choice led to my first experience with The Sims as a series with The Sims 1 on the PlayStation 2. On the Christmas we got our family PlayStation 2, my mom also got a copy of The Sims 1. She said it was a game that she bought for herself, but I think she played it once or twice before I got my hands on it. Little did I know, this would start my obsession with The Sims as a series. Before we get into the video, check out this weird trailer I found for the game.
Hot Sims, hot tubs, hot action. Brace yourself. The Sims are on PlayStation 2. Rated T for teen.
EA Games.
Challenge everything.
That ad reminds me of some Nintendo ads that came out around the same time. The interesting thing about this game is that the graphics and gameplay mechanics are more akin to The Sims 2 for the PC than they are The Sims 1, but it still has a bit of The Sims 1 look to it, to be honest, which I kinda like. I'm personally gonna chalk this up to the fact that the game was released 1 year before The Sims 2 on PC. For sure, the teams developing the game shared some developers and ideas. Creating a sim is also roughly the same as all the other versions of the game. First, you start off in the personal section. You pick a name for your sim, you pick an age, and then the gender, and an astrological sign. This was actually my first introduction to astrological signs as a kid. Whoa, looks like we've got a visitor. I always loved when the robber would come up while you're creating your sims. My friends that would play the game for the first time would get so surprised by it. Then you get to choose the sim's skin color, body type, and then the clothing. The main customization here comes from being able to select the color of your clothes. Then in the next section, you can change the face style of your character. Most of them are pretty horrible other than the default. Then you've got a wide selection of hairstyles, makeup, eye color, and accessories. Some of the hairstyles are hilarious, especially the ones on the guy. You can get this funny bandana with your hair poking out. It's too funny. Gameplay wise, this game is about as Sims as you can get. You control a household with needs that have to be met, and you can design a home and furnish it. You satisfy the needs of your Sims by controlling them with a cursor that can highlight and select objects. The core gameplay loop is essentially work, fulfill motives, and then do it again the next day. The pacing gets broken up by the occasional mishap. Be it your sink breaking and leaking, you being robbed, or some idiot lighting your house on fire during a party. And I kid you not, this has happened a couple times in my Sims 1 Gamecube playthroughs in free mode with friends. It's a lot of fun, but compared to the newer titles, it's obviously lacking on the gameplay side of things. Something I had forgot about this game before playing it was how absurdly annoying the motives are in this game. At times it feels impossible to get past 2 green bars, and the game uses these bars to determine if you're gonna get a promotion or not. And the promotions play a large role inside of the story mode, and you can't actually progress without getting them. The issue is pretty much non-existent in free mode. When you have a larger household, your social meter goes up just by eating or watching television with your housemates. This takes care of at least 2 moodlets at once. On top of that, the starting money is more than enough to get decent furniture, so it isn't a legitimate struggle to keep your mood high enough for promotions. Having a solo sim with bad furniture and no money to upgrade this furniture is actually one of the most annoying things I've ever experienced in a game, and it made me want to put down the story mode. But that's a topic I'm going to bring up in a little bit. Living with trash tier furniture at the beginning of the game often leads to over-exaggerated nonsense coming out of your sim.
Mi tabula!
Something similar happens when you wake up too early without filling up your energy motive enough. Your sim will rage as if they were a child that just lost a Fortnite Battle Royale. And if their social meter's too low, they begin viciously crying. The intro video really sets you up for the ridiculousness that would ensue in the game. The dude in the pink heart underwear that's on fire, running away from the fireman, freaking out, always gave me a good laugh as a kid. I was not expecting the soundtrack for the game to be this good. This really hit me at the first level of the game. Much like real life, the first level of the game takes place at your mother's house. When I first entered Mom's house to get some footage for the video, I was hit by a wave of nostalgia as the familiar music filled my ears. I felt like I had traveled through time and went back to when I was 7 years old. The soundtrack for the game actually has a lot going for it. It's got this upbeat, happy atmosphere to it, and the in-game music is too good. Just listen to the initial loading screen music for the game. It's pretty hype. The game also has some pretty hilarious sound effects. And there's some pretty scary ones too. I'm talking ones that like actually kinda traumatized me as a kid. Most notably, when a robber enters your home, this horrifying music will play, and it always scared the living crap out of me. It also played the same sound for when you missed a day of work. So you would like stay home to like raise your moodlets up, because at the beginning of the game that's really difficult. And then you'd forget that you missed the day of work, and you'd pick up the phone and you'd get the crap scared out of you. My first experience with The Sims was the Get a Life mode. You start off in your mother's house and you're trying to move out, a feat I have yet to accomplish in my own adult life. When I played through the game as a kid, I found that if I did not aggressively level up my cooking skill right away, it was pretty much impossible to get out of Mom's house. This is because if you don't have any cooking skill, every time you cook, a fire will start. It's pretty difficult to get your motives back up without being able to cook, and if you can't cook and get your motives back up, you can't even read the skill books so that you can learn how to cook. From this experience, I learned it's pretty much essential for at least one sim to read a couple books at the start of a household, unless you want your house burning down. To move out, you need to accomplish a series of tasks, like borrowing $800 from your mom, and getting a job, and fixing the TV, and learning how to cook. Progression in other levels is the exact same. Do this, do that, progress. I personally never finished the story mode, as I always got stuck at the second house. Trying to keep your motives up is such a chore in this game, especially with terrible furniture that you start with, and I'm frankly not that good at this version of The Sims. All the others I find are very easy to keep your motives up, even with terrible furniture. I tried to play through the story mode to provide further insight into the game for this video, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Playing through the story mode felt like a torturous task, and I don't think it's aged particularly well. I just can't recommend this mode because it isn't actually that fun. I found it to be the least interesting part of the game as a kid, and I still find it to be that way as an adult. I would have pushed through it to give a more rounded perspective of the game for this video, but I'm at the point in my life where if I'm not enjoying a game, I'm not going to continue playing it. And that part of the game I just did not enjoy. And to be frank, I don't think I ever enjoyed that part of the game. I found Freeplay was where the game really shined. That's pretty much the same with every Sims game though, but especially this one due to the ability to play split screen with a friend. That is an awesome feature that only a couple other Sims games had. The issue I mentioned earlier about the motives wasn't really a problem here, as you could have a big enough family to have all your bases covered. When you have more Sims, it makes it easier to keep your motives up and keep the place clean and in repair, which is about half the battle of the game itself. The free mode for me is far more enjoyable because even if you aren't getting promoted because your motives are low, gaining money to slowly upgrade your home gives you a nice feeling of progression. While in the story mode, you don't feel particularly attached to any location because the goal is just to check off some boxes on a list so you can move out. The game just feels far more natural and enjoyable in Freeplay to me. When you enter free mode, there are some pre-made families to play as. I never played with the starter families much compared to custom characters, but I would steal their homes sometimes. The Goth family house was pretty awesome. My friends and I would kick them out and use their home. It's very well designed, except for it has one flaw. In the back of the house, there's a graveyard, and any Sims living there or visiting will just spend their entire time crying at these gravestones in the backyard. They will ignore everything and anything until they have to sleep or use the bathroom, and once they're done, they will go straight back to crying at these gravestones. The only fix is to get rid of them by selling them. In this version of The Sims, your household can't visit other properties, but you can be visited by other Sims and have parties with them. Everything good about free mode and other Sims games seems to all be here, albeit in a simpler form. The split screen mode in this game is fantastic. Well, other than the fact the screen is split diagonally, which is a totally weird design choice. The second player isn't limited at all in this game. There are a couple instances where they are, such as during character creation, the first player must pass the remote over to the second player. The other instance is when player 2 wants to attempt build mode. You're gonna have to borrow player 1's controller then too. So make sure you're not playing with somebody that likes to eat Cheetos while they play. This is what it looks like when player 2 attempts to pause and do build mode. They will see a very limited menu. My only other gripe is that player 2 has the ability to pause time. As a kid, this led to my friends and I spamming the crap out of the pause button just to annoy each other. Those small issues aside, it's a great experience, and probably the best split-screen Sims game that you can get. I found Sims 2 and the ERBs to lack some features, most notably having a baby. So this is one of the most well-rounded split-screen experiences you can get. Finally, we've got the split-screen PvP modes. Probably the strangest part about this version of The Sims is the fact that there's a PvP versus mode. An awesome feature is that you're allowed to import your sim from your save games into this mode too. My friends and I only played the PvP modes a handful of times. The experience was one of those things that's fun to play once or twice, but I wouldn't really play it more than that, as it lacks depth. It was nice to have around whenever you and your friend wanted to take a break from free mode. There's quite a few different PvP maps and modes that you can play. The Handyman's House, the Park, the Museum, the Frat House, Taylor's Place, Club Abhi, the Maid's House, and finally the Party Motel. The basic premise for each of these game modes is that you need to accomplish certain tasks while keeping your mood up. The Museum, for example, you're attempting to get investors to give you their money by becoming their friends. Then in the Party Motel, you're trying to have the craziest party, and you can get your friends to go sabotage the other player's party. This one has some pretty scary sound effects when your party's going bad. Check this out. Hilariously, at the end of this game mode, the winner gets to kiss the monkey butler from the game, and the loser gets slapped by Dudley from the story mode. I won't go too much more in depth with these modes because finding out what you do and playing them is a blast, and I'm sure most of you are Sims fans and would love to try the Sims versus mode out with some friends. So enjoy, it's absolutely ridiculous. Any fan of The Sims knows, cheating is one of the best part of The Sims. They definitely have cheats in this one. Being able to make your dream home without having to worry about earning the money was always awesome, but I found it got boring quick personally. I'm gonna run you through the various cheats really quick. First, we've got my personal favorite, Fisheye. This cheat adds a hilarious new perspective to the game, and it's awesome to get a closer look at what your Sims are doing. One of the most interesting things to get a closer look at is when your Sim is playing on the PC. You can actually see that it's older games from Maxis and EA. On top of that, it just really offers a bunch of strange perspectives. The next cheat is the free alt cheat, which makes items free. So you can actually get the free items and then sell them back. So this cheat is almost like the motherload cheat code, but at the same time it's not. Next up, we've got Midas. I'm a huge fan of this cheat, and you should know from watching this video that I'm not particularly the biggest fan of the story mode. This cheat lets you buy whatever item without having to unlock them. It essentially unlocks all the items for you. It also unlocks all the modes in the game as well. It's nice being able to buy cool and awesome objects in the game and enjoy them with your friends without worrying about having to play through the story to get them. This was how I originally discovered the monkey butler in the game.
Tap foam.
Okay.
This is a hilarious item that you can buy, and it's pretty much the maid on steroids for significantly cheaper. After that, we've got the Party M cheat, which simply unlocks the Party Motel PvP game mode. And then finally, I left the lamest cheat of all time. This is just the Sims cheat. This unlocks a free play mode. All you have to do to traditionally unlock this is open up a story mode and then save and quit once you get into mom's house. I don't really see why they added this cheat in. It's borderline pointless, and I think it's the most useless cheat in the game. As a kid, I was obsessed with glitches. That originally started with the bottle glitch in Ocarina of Time, I believe. There was only one glitch I can remember performing in The Sims 1 though, as that was probably 10 to 15 years ago. I would have liked to show off more glitches, but I couldn't remember any of them, and I tried to look up the old forums for them, and I just couldn't find the forums. The glitch in question allows your sim to become naked. Obviously not actually naked, you look more like a department store mannequin. To perform this glitch, first you must create a room full of flammable rugs and a vibrating bed. Then get your sim to lay in the vibrating bed. Then you need to get another sim to light all of the fireplaces. If you do this right, your sim should then burn alive but magically spawn outside unharmed, but now without clothes on. When I recreated this glitch, I was only able to get the sim to respawn outside with a blur. Before I close out the video, I'd like to showcase some of the hilarious shenanigans that you can get up to in this game. I would do hilarious things such as using the Midas cheat and the free all cheat, and then creating a small house beside mom's house for mom in the story mode. Then you lock her inside of it. Finally, freedom. Sometimes my friends and I would get sadistic and attempt to kill as many Sims as a Sims player does. One of the main ways we would do this is by making a row of benches and then having a party and getting as many people to sit down in it. Then you light the rugs that are underneath them on fire using fireplaces, like the glitch I explained earlier. Then lastly, one of the funniest things that ever happened was my friend would just keep making burgers, plates of burgers, then grabbing the burgers and putting them on the floor. We had a maid and the maid couldn't even keep up, he was doing it so much. The entire house was burgers everywhere. And then our sinks broke, our baths broke, so it was water and burgers everywhere. We would also do fun things like recreating our neighborhood houses near each other, or we would do things like pretending that we're camping by making a bunch of different buildings with just a bed in it and then a main building where you eat and stuff. The game just let our imaginations run wild. It was really awesome. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and click the bell. I'm planning to make a lot more videos about games just like this and do even deeper dives in the future. Also, leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts about the video, how you feel about the game, and if I got anything wrong. Again, thank you for watching, and please have a nice day.
Thank you!